Thank you for asking so many questions. I will try to answer the main ones, not the main, but the one that were voted more. And sorry for the others, maybe I will answer it on the next videos here and there. Hello, Native Texan. I guess this is not your real name, but your question is interesting about people helping for free, having, in French we call it the bénévole. I didn't organize it yet because I think it's a lot of organization to have some people coming without knowing their capacity and skills. It's so far much more easy for me to have very skillful people recognized and to pay them and have a job properly done. But of course, I think because I received a lot of questions and a lot of proposition of people wanting to help, and I didn't expect that at all. I think it could be a good idea. I think during the good days for next summer or spring, to have some people coming around to help for the wood, to help for building a wall, or to do all these things that are maybe less complicated to do. But I will of course not offer that kind of perspective during the winter because it's very cold and I don't want to lose anyone in the journey. Hello David, thank you for your question. About when I expect to have the renovation done, it's not only me deciding that part, because it's also the monument historique, we decide the schedule. So it can be 2 years for the Châtelet and probably 4 or 3 for the Chateau. Talking about like the gros œuvres, meaning like the big constructions, the big renovations, windows, roof, facade, structure of the building, but not even talking about the inside and the decoration inside and the organization and the furnitures to put there. So I guess in 6-7 years we should have, I mean in 5 years I hope we can have like a proper good idea of what it will look like without having completely the decoration for the big castle of course, but hopefully the Châtelet itself will be completely done in 2 years with decoration, because this is the plan, is to have the Châtelet ready for me to put my luggage over there and spend my weekends there and have the little cottage at the entrance for my friends and the Châtelet for me and another friends and family. I'm a doctor. I'm actually on my practice. I'm doing exactly the same thing as I'm doing here. I renovate. I'm a specialist in renovation for faces. I'm not a plastic surgeon, I'm a cosmetic doctor, I'm a dermatologist. Yes, I plan to do a Chateau tour video about, as I did for the Châtelet, a video that will show the outside, the inside, the project for the future, and I will also do probably a video about how it looks now and how it used to look, because we had the chance to have some pictures taken before the castle was so much transformed. Inspirations. There is a couple of architects that I love. From before, I love Madeleine Castin, so I have everything that is about her. She had a very specific and classic taste that I really love, and she also had a very good trick for having a neck perfectly lifted. She always put this very nice story. She put always a little elastic band on her hat, and she had like the neck always perfectly lifted till the end of her life. That was a trick. I love also Mongiardino. Mongiardino is one of my favorites actually. He used to design all these very British style houses with tents. He put like a lot of fabric inside of a room and he made it so cozy. I love also David Hicks. David Hicks because of the way of simplicity, sirloin space with just one color and one little detail. And I find this style very striking and efficient. And nowadays there is a couple of architects, interior architects that I love. There is Jacques Grange, of course, for his simplicity and the way he restores things, and also with a lot of heritage. Jacques Garcia is also Jacques. Jacques Garcia, because he has a vision, he has the taste, and he has the genius to restore something and give an ambience, even if he doesn't have a huge budget. He can organize things to look even bigger and more impressive, and very, very impressive. He has this way to turn things into impressive things with the budget you give him. And there is another one called Alessandro Morricone, is a young one. I work with him for my clinic, and I really like his taste because he has this really like Italian style, very Milanese style, and in the same time he has all this heritage that I love, because sometimes when you look at Architecture and Digest magazine, the French or the Italian is a lot about like marble and brass, and not much of wood and fabric. And he has this really like simplicity of design, and also this British inspiration of putting everything together in a cozy way and historical way, bringing some antique pieces on something he's going to design. So this is an architect I really like too. How do I balance work and restoration and the rest? I don't sleep, that's it. During the day I work, and during the night I check the restoration. No, it's actually half true, but I work all week long, and in the evening my constructor just send me the pictures of everything he did during the day. So every day I spend like an hour before dinner looking all the pictures and making sure that everything is the way I want. And I try to come every week here to do a little réunion, a meeting with them, and checking everything that was done and that needs to be done. And that's how I deal with the construction and the renovations. What I love about owning a castle is just I have the feeling I'm part of something that is so much bigger than I am. And I think so many people can do things different way like this. They can go to help people in Africa. They can go they can defend the planet. They can defend many things. And my battle is to defend the patrimony and the history and the old stones. And I'm so happy to be part of this maintenance of this patrimony, because this is our history and this is my passion at the same time. So I'm very happy he put me in a very, very, very happy place. Will I live in the main house? Yes. The gradually renovation point was actually to start closer to the gate, going further and further and further. So first the pavilion, after the Château, where I'm going to put my luggage there and live there for a while the castle, that needs probably much more time to get renovated, gets the renovation done, so I have a proper house to stay. And once the castle is done, I will move to the castle, and this is where I'm going to live. I mean, not live full time, of course, but because I have a job for the next 5 decades, I guess, in Paris. So I will come here more regularly on every weekend or for the holidays also. But that's where I'm going to live, mainly in the main house, knowing that probably if I want to travel a bit through the time, I will be very happy to go from the 17th century house to the Middle East Renaissance house too, and change a bit of ambience depending on the season. I don't know. We will improvise that kind of a decision later. About the price is supposed to cost. The price includes everything without the decoration, but I think the Châtelet plus the Chateau, the total cost will be around 5 million, I guess. Happily, because it's a listed house, the government helps you to cover this cost, and half of it should be paid by the DRAC, which is like the the institution taking care of the French patrimony. And knowing that, of course, they pay part of it because they know they impose a certain style and a certain level of renovation. So the price is going to cost is much higher than if it wasn't listed, because if I did it on my own, I probably will not use that kind of artisan and specialist, and I would do it more my way. So now it costs more than the double, and they take care of half of it. So I think it's going to be around 5. So I have to find the rest of the money. Like for the gate, La Fondation du Patrimoine, which is like an organism who does that kind of founding and private founding. So they found some mécènes who are happy to give some money to help renovate like a project like this one. So with all of this, I hope we're gonna get through it and we're gonna succeed on finishing this renovation of the house. So, if you want to buy a castle in an auction, I think you just need to be very passionate about like castles and follow all the castles, because the auctions are not very often. I mean, I found this one that was the first time I saw like an auction, and I participated to a castle auction, and it's the last time I saw one auction actually. So I think that was just an opportunity that was not random at all, because actually I didn't discover this auction by myself. It was a person that is passionate about castle. His name is Guillaume Deniel, and he has an agency, a very good one. He's a passionate guy about castle, and he has a website called Antiquaire en Immeuble. I will put the link after if you want. And you can go on his website, you can contact this guy, and the guy always have little treasures here and there. Most of the time he needs a lot of renovation, but he sold recently a very beautiful castle, completely destroyed, called Château des Singes. That was on the internet because of Urbex, you know, there were like people going in an empty castle taking pictures without mentioning the name for the castles not to be completely destroyed by people knowing that there is something there. And this castle was very famous and beautiful because it's Louis XIV's castle from the 18th century, 17th century. And it had a beautiful wood paneling with a little monkey painting inside. It was called the Monkey Castle. And that was pretty famous on the internet. And finally, he found a guy that is a very famous sporty guy who went to Olympic, I don't remember his name, but he bought this house to restore it, a guy that is passionate about castles. So anyway, this guy is very good at hunting. He can find and hunt castles very easily. So if you have a project in France, he will be more than happy to find you something you like. And actually we see that there's a lot of houses that needs investors in France, because there's a lot that are getting destroyed and falling apart. The point of having a house like this and renovating it is not to sell it. I mean, for obvious reason. The government doesn't give you money, half of it, for you to just sell it in the end and get some money back and take advantage of the system. Actually, if the government gives you money to renovate the house, you cannot sell it for 15 or 20 years. Impossible to sell it. So that's perfect, because anyway, that wasn't the plan. I think you don't go in that kind of house to do a good investment. I guess if I sell the house later, it's not going to be half of the money I spend on it. But that's not the point. You don't do that kind of renovation for the money. You don't do it as an investment. And you don't do it to sell it. You do it because you love it, you like it, and this is the passion. And I mean, if you make money in your life, the point is to spend it on something you like, and this is definitely what I like. For the main gardens, the plans the plans are to renovate them a bit before the castle is completely finished. Because sooner better, for a simple reason, plants grows. So if I want a finished garden and I plant them after the castle, I will never enjoy. I will have like a beautiful house and the garden will not be ready. If I plant it as soon as possible, when the castle is done, I can enjoy it. The only thing that I will not do is the garden that is really, really close to the garden, to the castle. So I will not plant the terrace that is just behind the castle, neither the terrace that is just before the castle, because we're gonna injure it and we're gonna damage it while we restore the castle itself. But the rest, big trees, everything will be planted before. I will of course have a library, not because I'm a big reader, but I love to read, but sadly with the work and all the activities I have, as soon as I open a book, I fall asleep. So I need to be, after 2 weeks of holidays, to be really able to read 5 pages without falling asleep. But the library is on a space, it used to be in a space that is a bit lower ceiling than the rest of the ground floor, for a simple reason. It's just on top of the kitchen. The kitchen is on the basement. But because it's from the previous castle, the kitchen is very high ceiling, so then the rest is much higher than the rest of the basement. So this room is a bit squished and the ceiling is a bit lower. So it's a very cozy room. We're going to put wooden floor over there, and we're going to put, the room is probably like 60 square meters. So I want to put maybe a little table to have cozy dinners there. I want to put a little piano or a clavecin to play some music. I don't specifically, but I love to invite people who are. And books. And I actually have people last week who came with an encyclopedia from the 19th century, and they offer me like the 11 books volume of the encyclopedia. So I will probably have to find nice examples of books from them. My parents had a sensibility for this, especially decoration. I remember my mother going through fabrics of pierre frais for the kitchen curtains, and I was so amazed to receive the catalog with all the fabric, and I was like turning the pages and being really amazed to see how some fabrics can just be like paintings. And so I remember that. The horse, actually I started the horse riding with my father. We started all together. He dreamed when he was a kid to do that, so he was happy to see that I liked it too. So we went together, and now my father is a horse teacher, a horse rider teacher, and he loves it as much as I do. And about the opera is more because my family wanted me to have a very like classic education in a way, and they wanted me to have all the cards in my life to choose what I wanted to do after. So they put me on the music conservatory in the south of France. And there, even if my parents are not musicians at all, but I had a music education. So I loved the opera and I learned about music over there. And I did a little career in the conservatory as a baritone singer, actually. And I'm done with it now, but I still sing on the shower sometime. When you have a listed house and you ask for help for the government, but even if you don't, everything needs to be validated by the government. So even if you pay, you are not deciding. You can negotiate with them, try to see what is good, and you depend on your project. Of course, if you want to do a hotel in a listed house, you will have to pressure them a little bit for them to let you put AC or something in the building. So there is a lot of condition, but in the end, you always find some compromise, which is always for the best for the house. Because listed castles are not only yours, they are like the patrimony house, and this is really something you need to keep in mind. So for instance, even if the windows, I like them like this, I will probably have to let it go and let them renovate them with a different shape and maybe a different color, even if it's not the one I had on my mind, but is the one the history had on their mind, and the one that originally was here. So I need to follow these kind of rules and not really like my taste one. To be honest, if you go to in Paris, of course, Paris, the apartments are very tiny and it's very small, so the kitchen is a very small part of the house. But still, the French person love to cook, even on small, tiny kitchen. No offense for the Americans, but we don't need big kitchens to cook. But still, in the castle, actually, the kitchen was huge. Just because, for a simple reason, it was not only one person cooking. It was not the owner of the place cooking. It was actually people cooking for him, and there were usually a lot of people. And the kitchen is 50 or 60 square meters, which is huge for a kitchen. It's probably like an American kitchen. But the way it's going to be decorated is, of course, not going to be too modern. I will do, I don't know if you ever visited le musée Nissim de Camondo, which is like a very beautiful house, a little Petit Trianon in the center of Paris, built by Monsieur Camondo, the father, at the end of the 19th century, and he had he was a billionaire banker, Jewish, with an incredible lifestyle, and he had a passion for 18th century, but he decorated his kitchen on the ground floor of his house, and not even on the basement, and the ground floor, and the kitchen is just a masterpiece. If you ever have like the opportunity to go and visit it in Paris, it's worth the travel. And the kitchen is really 19th century, but there's like marble, there's like a wood cupboard, and tiles on the walls, even on the ceiling. I'm not going to do that much, but I'm going to try to adapt a maximum to the kitchen that already exists. When I bought the house, the lot with the castle was 13 hectares. I bought another lot because I had a little extra money because the castle was sold and I was the only one with the first price. So I had like 30,000 more to invest. So I bought the second lot that was just this price for 4 hectares more. And now I just bought last week 2 more hectares that were very close to the Miroir d'Eau. So now I think this is the end of the property. And it's 20 hectares now, which is not huge for a house that size, because of course before you had like hundreds of hectares around with farming and farms that were providing money to actually maintain the domain, and the domain was autonomous. Nowadays with 20 hectares, of course, is not going to be enough. Actually, it's just costing money. But the only good news is that before it used to be farms, but now there is an electric turbine that is going to provide enough electricity to have a heating system covered and a lighting system and everything covered. So this is going to be in a way kind of autonomous. The taste for decoration, I mean, I don't know if I have a good taste for decoration, but I have my taste of decoration. I think taste evolves. The taste I had when I was 15 or 18 years old is not the same as I have now, and is not the same as I will have when I'm 50 or 60 years old. And probably when I will look back, I will feel like, oh God, that was really terrifying. Why did I choose that? Why did I do that? But this is just a proof that taste evolves, depend on who you meet, the people you see, the people you talk with, the places you visit, the influence, the travels. So I do think that just like traveling, talking, seeing, being curious, this is how you learn and how you educate your taste. And I think this is a journey of a lifetime, so the journey will be much longer. This house will be my personal home, where I'm going to invite my friends, my family, and for personal use, of course. But it will also be like public in a way that you can visit it as a summer season. And I also want to organize some cultural events. I don't want to make money out of it. This is not a business for me. It's a passion. So I don't see it as a company, as an enterprise, but more as a enjoying place to organize some cultural moments, cultural events. I don't know, like a good concert in end of the spring and one in autumn or something like this. So it's more like a place to for the people to meet, a place for actually for the village to exist also, because I let the castle every year for the 14th of July. I really feel like the king of the village when I do that, but all the village is coming here to see the fireworks, and the fireworks are done inside of the castle. I mean outside of the castle, but inside of the park. Voilà, c'est fini. Thank you for all the questions. I hope my answers satisfied you and I could answer clearly and enough to your questions. If you have more, please keep asking and I will try to integrate it on the next videos.